G'day, Steel Nation. How you going? Mark here, Mark Davidson from Steel Nation Australia. What's going on, West Country? What's that? Let's go, baby! Yes, yes! Let's go!
What's the deal with this game?
So I think the stereotype that we drink Fosters, and the first Foster I saw was in Pittsburgh. It's a true story.
Yeah,
The
I've
first
only
ever
seen-
Foster I saw was in America. I've never
Well, I
seen one
thought that
here.
was like Australia for beer.
For what? Steeler Nation, what's going on? Welcome back to Steelers Nation Australia. G'day, Sean. What's happening? What is happening out there in Steeler land? I feel like Yinzers yet again have lost their absolute mind. Now, I'll give you my take on it shortly. As people come in, we start talking about the George Pickens trade. And yes, yesterday I said I didn't think it was going to happen. And every single time I say the Steelers aren't going to do this, they end up doing it. I was called wrong on Justin Fields. I was called wrong on Russell Wilson last year. I thought Kenny Pickett was going to be the guy for the future. Obviously, I don't know what I'm talking about in that sense. And you know what? Many of us don't know what we're talking about. Yesterday on the show, I was talking about how it would be silly to trade George Pickens now after the draft. After. And legit, 12 hours later, the Steelers have traded away George Pickens to the Cowboys. Now, am I that annoyed? No, not at all. And we're going to explore that. We're going to see what we think about this, see what the Steelers do from here. But I was reading comments in Twitter and Facebook, and it feels like, dude, it feels like the end of the world just happened. The Steeler Nation thinking, oh, this is the worst roster we've ever built. Got no quarterback, got no receiver two, got no George Pickens. The world's over. But we don't, can I swear yet, YouTube? We don't fucking play till September. It's May. It's May. It's not May Day where everything's falling apart. It's fucking May. And yes, it probably should have been a better idea to get picks for this year and get a receiver in the draft. Would have been helpful for maybe this year. But I'm sure the Steelers have a plan at play where they're going to get another receiver in the building. People act like these things happen. And when you go and trade away George Pickens, there's nothing else behind it. Thank you, Silver Steel. Says the Steelers will be fine. I agree also. I think they will be fine too. I think they've gotten better in a lot of places. And one thing I want to talk about as well, Mike Tomlin said in the offseason, and many people called him out and said he won't change anything. Mike Tomlin said there was going to be changes. And fucking oath there was, wasn't there? They've gotten rid of the quarterback coach. They got rid of both quarterbacks, including Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. They got rid of Najee Harris, right? They've got rid of Ogunjobi on the line. They brought in guys like Darius Slay. They brought in other dudes like DK Metcalf. Like, there have been so many changes. One big change is what Steelers fans do want is that is to fire Mike Tomlin. They're saying this is one of his worst, trades ever to exist. One of his worst moves ever for Mike Tomlin and the Steelers, which I disagree. I think it's just part of the course. George Pickens had his contract running out. He had 1 year left. I've even now heard reports too that apparently he's going to explore options and the Cowboys aren't even going to give him an extension because who are they going to pay? How are they going to pay everyone? They're going to pay like Dak. They just paid CeeDee Lamb. They're going to pay Micah Parsons, all these blokes over there. So the Cowboys probably just taking a flyer on him for a year and see what happens. and then maybe George Pickens could be a free agent after next year. Obviously, the Steelers made a choice and said, actually, we can't afford to pay him, or we don't want to pay him for reasons that, on the field there were some issues. Off the field, he's got a bit of an ego behind him, and the talent didn't match we want volunteers, not hostages. So in that sense, it's not really that big of a surprise. A few months back, I talked about the Steelers could trade away George Pickens, and people thought I was crazy, right? After the draft, I thought, oh no, the Steelers have it set where they're going to go forward with receivers, and they're going to go forward with George Pickens and DK Metcalf on one on either side, and that was going to be fantastic. I thought it was going to be really fun to watch. Obviously not. Now that the gap in the room does feel like, yet again, who is that receiver to? Because we've got DK Metcalf. I've seen the idea as well that people are saying that this is the worst team than last year and we're in the same position. But not really, because you now have Roman Wilson, who has to, find a spot and get better to be receiver 2 or receiver 3. He's going to get that chance. I'm sure that the Steelers go and get another receiver. You would hope so. That's going to happen. And DK Metcalf is a much better receiver, number 1, and he's proven that, than George Pickens. Right? He wants to block. He wants to be physical. He wants to hit people. He wants to do all that stuff. So we're not in the exact same position we were last year with George Pickens on the out. And it feels like, oh, fuck me. George Pickens is gone. No more Super Bowl. You see where I'm kind of going? I find this stuff so crazy. We're so emotional to the fact that one player leaves. And yes, I did like George Pickens. I thought he was cool. I thought it was really fun to watch. Highlights. I watched the game the other day with the Steelers versus Bengals, and he went off 195 yards, 2 TDs. George Pickens, I wish him all luck. I'll probably try and get him in my fantasy team. Ray Gunn II. She's back. Ray Gunn reset. She's back. Now, let's get into a few things to clarify what is happening around this trade. And I understand every single fucking YouTuber has done this. Every single one. There are people who haven't made videos for 2 or 3 years coming out and talking about Pickens. Everyone's done it. But let's go through it. George Pickens is being traded to the Cowboys, right? And here are the trade details, and we can talk about this. This is via Roundtable Sports from Adam Schefter. Dallas receives George Pickens, a receiver. They get 2027 6th-round pick. Pittsburgh receives 2026 3rd-round pick and 2027 5th-round pick. Who won the trade? I don't know. I put in my poll, by the way, and we'll check it soon. Who won the trade? I don't know if a day after it happens, you can actually say who won this, who won that. If you go back to the Claypool trade with the Bears, obviously, if there were to be any winner out of that, it's probably the Steelers, because we got back Joey Porter, right? They had Claypool. He was fucking awful. He ended up going and play for the CFL, and he's out of town. The Steelers also have had numerous issues with receivers. They get some talent out of them 2 or 3 years. They play up, they muck up. Deontay Johnson, Claypool, George Pickens, Antonio Brown. Mike Tomlin holds him for a little bit, then he shakes him off and says, see you later. So at this point, I don't know if you can say who won the trade. I don't think there's any maybe data or evidence to say, okay, who's going to win this trade based on this, and this. From a Steelers perspective, and I'm going to get into Mike Tomlin in a minute, and from the locker room, they're saying that they would win the trade, being the Pittsburgh Steelers, because they didn't overly like him in the locker room and his presence and the off-field antics and sometimes on-field antics where he wasn't showing up to block, he wasn't showing up to do this. It's great watching highlights, but it's not always fantastic to watch a full game where he does give up on plays and he wasn't chasing down, if there was a pick, he wasn't chasing him down. There were some flaws in his game, there were many flaws in other people's game, right? So in that sense, who do you say won the trade? We'll go to the poll later, but I can't give you an answer right now. But Mike Tomlin also said, I saw this, this is from Mark Caboli. So I'm not too sure if Mike Tomlin said this, but Mark Caboli was talking about, he said, Mike Tomlin led the effort to trade George Pickens. What is surprising to me, from everything I've heard, Mike Tomlin was the one in front of all this. It wasn't Art, it wasn't Omar Khan, it was Mike and their organization decision of them time to move on. So if this doesn't work out, I guess you can blame Mike Tomlin all you want to, because apparently from Mark Caboli, he was in the front leading the charge, saying we need to get rid of Pickens because he's too out of control. We can't handle him. ship him off now. We're not going to pay his contract next year anyway. We're not going to give him extension because we already gave DK Metcalf like 5 years. Then you're going to see him get back a 3rd round pick and a 7th, and he's another team's problem, right? So that can be chased back to Mike Tomlin and saying that he's, I don't know. Oh, look, he's the head coach. He's always going to wear blame. He's now stuck in this 10-7, 11-6, 9-8 seasons, and you're getting to the playoffs, but not getting that victory. Now, also, was George Pickens going to be that guy to get us over the hump in terms of a playoff win? Maybe. It would have been exciting, right? It would have been really exciting to have both DK Metcalf and George Pickens on the roster. So for me so far, and I'm going to check the comments, right? Because I'm just a bit heated about this stuff because the fan bases get so emotional. 1 minute we're going okay. We had a really good draft. We got D lineman. We got a running back. We got George Pickens and this and that. The next minute we trade away one of our big playmakers and the world's over. But the fucking game doesn't start till September. And yes, they need to take this issue of receiver 2 or receiver 3 and fill the gap before they start the season and don't do what they did last year, going into getting Mike Williams from the Jets and trying to have a Band-Aid solution, right? But I'm sure there's something at play where they must have had a reason to let him go, George Pickens, to another team. And I said it wasn't going to happen, and it did happen. Let him go to another team, Cowboys problem, and then he's their headache right now. Build through the team. It's all team mentality, and you go and get another guy to fill, hopefully, that role at least of receiver 2, right? We'll see what happens. So let's go to the comments and say hello to everyone. What's up, Chloe? How's it going? G'day, Sean. G'day, Zoo. How are you? G'day, Robert. G'day, Mike Drop Sports. Yeah, I'm doing well, man. How are you, Jason? I know you've been doing a lot of content. I see your content, but then it's always when I'm waking up. So I'm always very tired in the morning. G'day, Jed. G'day, Original. What's going on? Always can laugh at the Super Bowl. That's good too. Now, that's actually a good point. The Steelers could have been similar to the Bengals if they were to give the George Pickens a contract next year, and obviously they didn't want to, because the Bengals have now signed up 2 or 3 receivers with big money, and I think 57% of their offense is now, the salary cap is going towards their offense. So obviously Steelers have bigger plans in play to give DK Metcalf the ball. Now we still don't know who's going to throw him the football. Could be Mason Rudolph, could be Aaron Rodgers, but obviously the Steelers didn't want to go that route of the Super Bowl Bengals where they were giving so much money on offense and needed the money to pay on defense, right? But I did see a report that, and I've been researching all morning. This news came out last night, right? Hope you guys enjoyed the car video. There was a report out there saying that the Steelers did not want to. It wasn't they couldn't afford George Pickens. They could probably afford it. They did not want to give him the extension. They did not want to give him, the 1 year and play this and do that and see how it pans out. They simply wanted to move on from him while the iron was hot, get back some draft picks, and build through the draft next year. And I'm okay with it. I think it's fine. I'm a Steelers fan. I'm not a George Pickens fan, but I did like the way that George Pickens played. I hope not. I hope not. I hope not. I hope not. We got a lot to talk about. We do. G'day, Darkson. What's going on? G'day, Blue Nose. What's up? I'm just reading the names, not reading your comments just yet. So feel free to put these comments back in again. G'day, Gavin. G'day, Robert. I'll do a few more and I'll come back down. Who else I got? Sean's in the house too. Okay, let's come back down. So that's where we are right now. George Pickens, obviously was a great player, but he probably had some issues on the field. And Mike Tomlin and the crew said, you know what? We don't want to deal with that anymore. We don't want to handle that. You got DK Metcalf, though, so I don't think we're worse off than last year. I did see Ryan Clark say that we're in tank mode. We're in superstar tank mode. Yeah, 100%, man. I'm the same. I'm busy as fuck too. I tell you, I'm very, very busy. I feel like juggling both things with life and stuff, and then work. I go to work in 2 hours. And then, being behind time, it's all over. Right. So you're already there. I believe so too. I think he can. I think he can do a bounce back year. We are prepared to accept I don't think it's gonna be mediocre. It's never mediocre with Tomlin and crew, as much as people want to say it, but they're always trying to be competitive. And JJ52 said the sky is falling, right? I do want to talk about some other things, though, that came out of this, because it does feel like the sky is falling to a certain degree because we got rid of one of our playmakers, and who do we have? I see these things on the internet, though. I've just got to shake my head. I have to shake my head. So Jarrett Bailey, I think he does a podcast on YouTube, so give him a shout out. I don't know what it's called, but he's on YouTube somewhere. It might actually just be his name. And I see these comments, I just think they're so off the cuff of this, like, what are you talking about? They're not doing this. He says, also love TJ, but trade him, blow this thing up, and actually rebuild. None of this half-ass BS. Either you're rebuilding or you aren't. Can't have your cake and eat it too. I don't think this move means they're rebuilding, right? Rebuilding, retooling, this. That's like fucking fan speak. This move was pretty much, to me, what I see what happened was George Pickens had 1 year left in his contract. The Steelers did not want to entertain the idea of giving him more money next year and having the drama that came with it. So they traded him away to the Dallas Cowboys to get back a pick so they can use that in 2026. I don't reckon that's a rebuild. They're not getting away George Pickens and then they're trading Minka, trading TJ. That to me is not going to happen. They're not going to trade away their best players of Minka and TJ Watt. I just think that's absolutely fucking ludicrous. I think it's crazy. Now, with the receivers on the roster, right? Here are the guys on the roster who we have. This is via Adam Schefter. We know this. We have DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin III, which he plays really good. He played really well at receiver. Plus, he played really well punting the football. Had Robert Woods, he's like a 12-year vet. Roman Wilson is a guy I think fans now are going to key on because he didn't play last year. He played like 4 snaps. He was injured. And then Mike Tomlin and crew kept him out of the offense because he couldn't catch up to a moving train. So fans are going to key on him and say, can he be the guy next to DK Metcalf? We're all going to watch Roman Wilson like a hawk. Scotty Miller's there too, so he could be a cut candidate because he could be a receiver 5 or 6. Ben Skronik, I think he makes a team because he's going to be a receiver 5 or whatever it may be, plus he plays teams. These last 2 blokes are dudes on the practice roster. So Steelers, obviously, by getting rid of George Pickens, there's now that void where we don't have the playmaker of George Pickens as receiver number 2. So it feels like we're in the back in the same position, but I don't think we are because we're not going to fucking entertain the idea of if I see any stupid links to Brendan Ayuk, I'm gonna lose my mind. Like, I don't want to see that. We already have enough links with the Rodgers thing happening in probably 2 or 3 weeks. It's meant to be. Rodgers come and will Rodgers even want to come in now because he hasn't got a star receiver like George Pickens? But they're going to link us to every fucking receiver under the sun. But they do need to do that. The Steelers need to pick up someone else to play alongside DK Metcalf. When you get rid of someone like George Pickens, you somehow have to fill that void in terms of playmakers, right? It just has to happen. So on the roster, like, I think it's going to be DK Metcalf, Austin, Woods, Roman Wilson, Ben Skronik, and possibly someone else, like 5. And maybe they should have drafted a receiver. Maybe they could have dropped the ball there. But I tell you what, it does feel like the world's ending. But I don't think it is because they're going to find someone. Now, with the receivers, right, for free agents, and I'm not saying these guys could be the blokes here, right? But these guys here, there's been speculation now straight away with Alan Lazard. He plays for the Jets, and he was like Rodgers' guy, that he would be a trade because when Rodgers comes over, he would bring him with us. Gabe Davis just got released by the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's a free agent. That's another guy that could be on the cards. Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, free agent. Maybe he could sign a vet deal. Or DJ Clark, not Clark, Shark there. So he could be it, right? Or Cortland Sutton. These dudes, but Tyreek Hill. I don't think some of them blokes, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think you see how you would bring in, if you got rid of one drama, one talking head a lot, right, with George Pickens, and I love the way he played, but there was some controversy there sometimes. Got rid of one headache. Why would you bring in another headache being Tyreek Hill? That would make no sense. I was listening to this morning. I was listening to Dale Lawley, I think it was. No, Matt Williamson on DK Sports. He was talking about, is it with DJ Moore from the Panthers? There's going to be someone to fill that gap. You know, I think we're just so emotional right now because of what the fuck we didn't. But if the Steelers were to have done this before the draft and got a receiver, it'd be all fine. It'd be like, see you later, Pickens. Thank you, mate. Appreciate you. We've got a receiver now. We're all good. We're just in the limbo now because we're waiting for our quarterback and we're waiting for a receiver. What is interesting though is what they're planning to do maybe next year in 2026. When you go to all these draft picks, right? You've got first round, second round, third round, fourth round, fifth, sixth, seventh. You have 12 picks in 2026. In 2025 Steelers draft, you had 7 picks, and we traded up to get one. So Steelers are obviously doing something. Omar Khan, Andy Waddle, Mike Tomlin, Art Rooney are doing something that is in the works right now by getting rid of a player that you weren't going to pay anyway for something to happen next year, right? May not be this year. This might just be a run and gun year, getting the offense, trying to get it back up. Maybe you do play Mason Rudolph. Maybe Aaron Rodgers signs a 1-year contract, but maybe they're getting ready to strike next year because they fucking have 12 picks. And are they really going to use 12 picks in this upcoming draft? Am I going to sit there? You know what? And to be honest, if I'm sitting there, if they have 12 picks, Pittsburgh Steelers, if you're listening to this podcast, Omar Khan, sign me the fuck up. Get me in there. Get me in there, Chief. Like, let me announce I won these picks. If there's 12 picks, surely a bloke from Australia can walk onto the stage and announce the third, or fourth, or fifth round. Let me announce one. If there's 12 picks, I'll put my hand up. I will announce, if you want me to, I will announce the fourth round, the second, fourth round. Done. I'll do it. But in all seriousness, I think the Steelers are planning something too. Obviously, they moved on from George Pickens. Didn't want to pay him. Got back more draft picks. They could use those draft picks now to move up to get a quarterback or get a really good player. That's what seems to be at play. But this year, they're not tanking. I don't think they're tanking. They never tank. Steelers don't tank. That's why we've had, I know people don't like it, the non-losing seasons 18 years in a row. They're always trying to be competitive to get to the playoff and win a game. And some will say out there, you need to tank because we need the best players so we get best draft and this, and this. So it gives us a better chance. I would then point to, look at the fucking Browns, look at the Jaguars, look at the Jets, look at the Giants, look at the Saints. All these kind of teams that do bad year in, year out, always get top picks, doesn't turn into Super Bowl success. Now, other teams like the Chiefs turn it around when they got Mahomes. Other teams like the Bills weren't playing too well. They got Josh Allen. That helps out. Teams like the Commanders, who changed their logo and name, they were once a bad franchise, turning into a good franchise, and now they're hosting the draft in 2027. They got Jaden Daniels. So it can work out if you go and get a franchise quarterback at QB1. You guys all know that. But they're doing something. Steeler Nation, they're doing something with their first round, second round. They're going to maybe put these picks together. Maybe they trade up, maybe they don't. Maybe something works out, but there's a reason why. They're not just going to trade away George Pickens and have no plan after. And I feel like my live reaction now, we're so emotional when we react to it and go, actually, this happened, that happened. The fucking world's over. Steelers Nation world is over. All right, there's my 23-minute rant. Exactly right. Mike Drop Sports gives it a day. Fans will be back and saying Carnard's made a great move. Everyone will calm down soon. That's when they go and sign. Let's say they trade for Cortland Sutton. I don't know. Let's go and say they trade for a receiver, and it's like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, man, 100%. 100%. Yeah, J-Double says fire Khan. Dead set. So, look, let's go to the poll. I'll go to the poll just quickly. I'm just going to scroll down these comments. I appreciate all 24, 25 people in here. There's so many people in here. If you are new to the channel and you do like what I'm saying, actually, and if you don't like what I'm saying, but you can, maybe we can go back and forth in discourse and you want to talk about football and not troll me, then subscribe to the channel and do all those YouTube things. Subscribe, like, all those things, right? If you want to. But there are some new people in here for sure. So just give that a crack if you want to. That's a good question. I talked about that with Bubba and Shane yesterday on Steelers Dynasty Podcast, and they're going to go live soon shortly as well in about a half an hour time, right? Toddy says here, what the F? What is wrong with all the wide receivers? Why are they almost head cases? It's very true. You've got the Tyreek Hills. You've got, look, the only one that stands out to me was Hines Ward was pretty level-headed, right? But most of them are. They're just getting, maybe because they're the ones scoring points, maybe the ones on show the most, maybe they're the guy driven with, high ego. Well, of course, they're competitive, but a lot of them are. A lot of them are just filled with Yeah, just filled with such, I don't know. Just feels like they are deep. They're divas for a reason, right? For sure. All right, let me go to the poll and I'll see what you guys are saying. So I put a poll out there so far, and I've got 24 votes, and it says, was the George Pickens trade good for the team? Like overall, good for the team. Get a pick back, you get rid of a head case. Look, I love George Pickens. He was so much fun to watch. I might even use him in fantasy because he's just fun. He's a good football player to watch. He's really fun. And I've got now 62% say yes and 38% say no. So there's 24 votes there, which is yeah, 100%. There's still a few receivers on the market. And yeah, there always seem to be that way, don't they? There always seem to be a diva mentality in that sense, which I don't know why. Yeah, and g'day, Gene. Larry Fitzgerald was solid too. So there are a few out there, right? And we'll see how DK Metcalf pans out in terms of, you know, he's more of a bigger bloke and wants to block. And I think Arthur Smith is building that kind of offense too with our tight ends and the big receivers as well. Yeah, Hines he was pretty good. All right, let me go to a quick break. I'm going to get a sip of water. And I'm going to talk about this offense because I saw another tweet out there, and they're saying that it's just time to blow the team up. It's all over. This team won't make any splash plays or moves, but the team is really different from that. Besides really the O-line, the team is heaps different. They got rid of Pickens, got rid of the two quarterbacks. So let's do a ray gun reset, and I'll come back in like, I don't know, 20 seconds. Where is it? Here we go.
I'm speaking. Can you hear me? Can you ask me a question? Yes.
Alrighty, Still Nation, we're back. So thank you for listening to me for like 24 minutes rant, but that's just the way I feel. I'll go back tomorrow or the next day. Oh, I'm pretty busy over the weekend. I'm going to a wedding on the weekend, so I'm pretty excited about that. Going golfing tomorrow too. So going golf, and then I'm part of the groom's party going to a wedding. So I'll be doing no content over the weekend. If anything happens, if we do sign a receiver, I'll be away at the wedding till like next 3 days. This will be my last probably video until then. Got some things going on. But yeah, I'll go back and read the comments and see what you guys are saying. Look, this happened, right? It's one of those things where people may not agree. You can if you're many Steel fans out there, you can watch the team however you want. People can say this, say that, whatever. But at the end of the day, it happened. It happened. What do? We can't do anything. All we can do is support the logo that is Steelers. And I do wish him luck. I wish George Pickens to have a good career, man. Go and get your bag. Go and get millions of dollars and be one of the best receivers the Cowboys can be. Maybe the Cowboys need this receiver to get to the next step and go win some playoff games too. So it's probably best for both worlds where the Steelers get rid of a headache they had in the locker room, and they think they can maybe it might be tough to get the same amount of talent in terms of having two great receivers like DK Metcalf and George Pickens. But if someone can fill that void, like a Roman Wilson, different kind of player though, much different kind of player. But we'll see how it pans out. I always just find it really funny. The first reaction is just fucking chaos, absolute chaos. We're still a nation is just like, this effing sucks. They're just like, this sucks, dude. Why would you do that? But it is what it is, and it kind of like it just happened. Now, I do want to talk about another tweet I saw on the old internet, right? And I get it. I understand it, but it's very interesting. So I saw this tweet online, and it says Steelers' current offensive weapons: QB Mason Rudolph, QB Will Howard, Caleb Johnson, Jalen Warren, DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin, Rome Mills, and Robert Woods, Pat Fryermuth, right? Now, from last year, the only real blokes you had there were the same, were Jalen Warren, Austin, and Fryermuth. Everyone else is kind of new, right? Kind of new. They got rid of Fields, he's a Jet. They got rid of, they didn't bring back Wilson, he's a New York Giant. That Najee Harris went to be a Charger, right? The other Allen Robinson or whoever the other bloke was, he's gone. Mike Williams, he's gone. Right? Juju, he's gone, you know? So the Steelers they're saying a lot of people on Twitter and Facebook land are saying this team sucks. We don't have any weapons, right? But I say there's a different tune to it. I believe Mason Rudolph can sling the football. I believe that QB Will Howard will be, maybe he won't be QB1, but from all the interviews I've seen on Big Ben's podcast, from Will Howard, I've seen highlights and I've seen him being, almost checked in and wanting to be a football player and wanting to be a superstar Steelers player. His energy, maybe you give Will Howard time to grow. He won a fucking championship. That's going to mean something, right? So they're saying this is a really bad offense, maybe the worst offense in the league. But the running back, Caleb Johnson, he had 1,500 yards for the Iowa State, right? Or Iowa. DK Metcalf is a huge upgrade if you're going to compare Pickens, huge upgrade over Pickens. Calvin Austin had a really big year last year. Roman Wilson, he's the one that Steelers fans, I think, will be eyeing off and saying, what will happen next? Can he be the guy to fill the void and fill the shoes and be receiver number 2, 3 Austin and figure this game plan out, right? And then Robert Woods is the veteran guy coming in, and Pat Frymouth, maybe they throw over the middle more. Maybe Mason Rudolph finds, if he's playing, they find Frymouth and they find Washington more. Like, I think they're going to use the tight ends much more. And don't forget about Donald Parham Jr., who came from the Chargers. He could be that tight end set 2 as well. So there's not the typical Tyreek Hill, or we haven't got George Pickens here, and no crazy superstar players. But it's not as bad, I think, as people are trying to make it out to be, where they're now really shitting on Rudolph, shitting on these players. And Jalen Warren, too, I think he's going to have an outstanding season. And he even talked about filling in for that Najee role. So Najee's now a Charger. It's now Jalen Warren's time to shine, to be RB1 and fill in for that role and be physical and hit people. And I think I've been seeing interviews. I've been seeing, the off-season workouts. He seems like he's got bigger, stronger, and he's ready to go. So, and he's also fighting for a contract next year too. So you see these things, and I'm not too worried on how it's going to pan out. DK Metcalf is now your sole receiver number 1. He's going to be exciting to watch. Calvin Austin, the punt returner / receiver, he's also fun to watch too. He had a pretty big season last year. And then we also just got to look at Roman Wilson. And if Robert Woods is, an older receiver into his 12th, 13th year, if he can get 300, 400 yards, it's not too bad. Is it the sexiest thing? Is it like the Bengals with Chase and Higgins and all those guys out there? No, it's not. Nothing like that. But at least they have someone to, I think, run the rock in Warren and Johnson. And depending if they're going to bring that fullback in too and see what happens there. So this is interesting times for Steelers fans, because I think a lot of us wanted to have this happen at the draft. And then when it happened in the draft, you'd use those picks to go and get another receiver. And that moment would be like, oh, it's fine. George Pickens went away to Dallas. They got a 3rd round pick. We got back some receiver in the college draft, and he's going to be part of the program. It just hurts right now because we don't know the direction what's going to happen. But like Mike Drop Sports said, Jason from over there, he was talking about that tomorrow. It could just be when it happens, right? Tomorrow could be a new day. You calm down, and next minute, Omar Khan's a legend again. But right now it stings because we don't know the overall direction of this team after this move. But to me, it was just because the Steelers they didn't want to pay him. They didn't want to pay him the money that was going to be a big contract extension. All right, guys, before we get out of here, I want to say a big thank you to everyone for the chat. We had over 24 people. That's freaking awesome for this channel. I try and do my best now at the moment. I'm really, really busy and stuff going on. I'll do videos like the car video, how it is, or I'll do lives like this, and I'll get out of you guys' hair. If you guys get any more questions in the chat, I'll answer them before I go. And I've got to get ready for work, and then got to get ready for the weekend, going to a wedding, which is going to be a lot of fun. So any more, dude, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. 100%. Yeah, he talked about that too. He talked about his Samoan culture as well. I've always backed him. I think Warren's a superstar. I think he's fantastic. But imagine if Rudolph took this team to 7, we would lose our minds. We'd absolutely lose our minds. What if Mason wins a playoff game or more? I fucking cheer it, man. I'd be so happy for them to win a playoff game or more and go on a bit of a run. G'day. What's up? Honorable mentions, Cowboys fan. So are you guys happy? Are you guys happy with the trade? I guess Cowboys fans will be happy with the trade, right? Because they got now, Dak Prescott has another weapon. And he got him for a 3rd round pick. So I guess you guys would be pretty happy with the trade. in terms of, well, Dak Prescott's your guy, and you got the other guy, CeeDee Lamb. He's the receiver number one. Who else do you have? Yeah, George Pickens on one side, CeeDee Lamb on the other, and Jalen Tolbert. So you guys are pretty good. I don't know who you got in the draft, though, but I guess that now Dak Prescott has another playmaker to throw to. G'day, Zoo. What's going on? I appreciate your expertise and entertaining style. No worries. I don't think I haven't got that much expertise. My expertise is just really 23 years. So 23 years a Steelers fan. And I think I know what the Steelers do or don't do, or what they should be doing, kind of thing. So I appreciate that, Zoo. And I try to be entertaining. You have to be. You need to be somewhat entertaining on YouTube. Otherwise, no one watches. Right? And today I probably swore too much more than normal. Right? So, yeah, I heard that too. Sean says they're not going to pay, the Cowboys aren't going to pay him either. So they're just using for maybe a 1-year deal in that sense. Do I like that? He says, who's everyone's favorite Steeler of all time? Mine is William Gay. Big play Will Gay. By the way, one of the funniest interceptions to go to the end zone, and the celebration that goes for a minute and a half when he picks off the Bengal and runs back like this is one of the best Steeler moments of all time. Like, it could be maybe top 20, top 15, depending how far you want to go back. But like top 20, top 25, including like football plays. But that's one of the best moments. G'day, Rob. What's going on? He says Pickens is a 1-year rental. Honorable mentions who's a Cowboys fan says extremely excited for the trade. So as a Cowboys fan. Yeah, 100%. Original says that's the best celebration ever. Sean says, who won the trade in the end? No one. I think we just have to wait and see. It's a more wait and see after the last two years. Like I said, if you go back to the Bears trade with Claypool, Steelers definitely won that trade. They got Joey Porter, and Claypool's now off the map. He's not even playing in the NFL. But yeah, going back to that Bengals, he took that ball for pick 6, and William Gay, I think he still leads. He still leads the Steelers with 6 of them, 6 pick sixes, Steelers record. Big play, Will Gay, fantastic guy, great role what he played with the Steelers. And when he ran it back, you know what's funny? When they cut, the best part is when they cut to Joey Porter, senior, right, on the sidelines. When they cut to Joey Porter on the sidelines, and they're still going like this and this. And there's still like Antoine Blake still there too. He's still there as well. I think he's like, it goes forever. It goes for like a minute and a half. It is honest to goodness, because it's against the Bengals. That's why it's so good. I fucking hate the Bengals. I can't stand the Bengals. 58 years, or what are they now? 59 years in the league. 0 Super Bowls. Nothing. They've been close 3 times, and they've lost 0-3. Joe Burrow, they'll talk about Joe Burrow being the best quarterback, now in age, right? He probably is. He's good quarterback, right? Lamar Jackson, good quarterback. Haven't won shit, right? Let's go do something. Let's go have some fun with Mason Rudolph and see what happens, right? If we're in this like crazy despair of like middle, like what are we doing? Let's just go have fun and see what happens with Mason Rudolph. They got more pressure with Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow not winning any Super Bowls in the last few years. Yeah, Peasy. It was so good. It was insane. Peasy on the sidelines. Joey Porter was just like, It just goes on forever. So you've got something to smile about. Go and look at that. I understand we all have different takes, different opinions. That's why I do try and give you guys your opinions too, and let's talk about it, right? It's a football setting, it's a bar setting. We're in a bar just chilling, having drinks, eating pizza. That's good. Mention says here, you heard it here first. Will Howard is your guy. He will get you guys a 7. That's interesting because I don't know what's going to happen yet in terms of will he go to training camp. Like, I'm excited to see how this plays out. We're in fucking May. We're freaking out in May. But when this plays out, will Howard, will he be the guy that is QB1 for the future? Is he QB1 this year? I don't know. Is Aaron Rodgers coming? I don't know. So I still would prefer Mason Rudolph to be there. Alrighty, guys. So quick summary, and then we're out of here. We're out. We are out of here. So George Pickens is gone. Thank you, George Pickens, for all your. You know what? I don't hate the bloke. I think George Pickens was a good receiver for us. I think the Steelers got good years out of him with some good moments. The one-hand catches and George Pickens versus Joey Porter in training camp was fun. I don't hate the bloke at all. I think they just made a choice, a business decision to say, see you later. I wish him all the best. Same with Najee. Wish him all the best too. He was a fun Steeler to watch. So was George Pickens, but I'm not the George Pickens Nation Australia. I'm Steelers Nation Australia, which is like our football team. So I wish him all the best in going into the Cowboys. See you later, mate. See what you can do. I might even look out fantasy draft. I might even draft him in the 3rd round or something like that. He's going to be fun to watch. George Pickens, they get him, and we get back 2026 3rd round pick, 2027 5th round pick. The Steelers are building up picks for next year. They're building the roster on the O-line, building the roster on the D-line. Derek Harmon, Y.A. Black, they're building up those guys in the trenches. Let's see how it pans out. I know people want to jump off a cliff already, but don't do it. Don't jump this yet. And also, I want to talk about lastly was, 2026 picks. We have so many picks. We have 12 picks in 2026. And really now we're on like receiver watch. Who are the Steelers going to bring in next? Alrighty, Steeler Nation, let's get out of here. 40 minutes. If you guys want to check out Steelers Dynasty podcast as well, they're going live. Probably going to talk about it, and then I'm going to go to work. So thank you, everyone, for the chat. You guys are awesome. Oh, 100%, dude. I saw that. I watched about half of it. I think about 35 minutes, and I watched it. And then I also watched a bit of Big Ben's podcast with Will Howard and Jack Sawyer. I thought it was pretty cool as well. Thank you, Chloe. You guys are awesome. So let's get out of here. And yeah, George Pickens. He's now a Cowboy. Let's see what happens next. That was a great show. All right. I'll see you guys next time on Steelers Nation Australia. See you later.
I'll see you guys later.
Hey, Road. See you later. Got the light. Left the light on. See you later. Bye.